Someone who's running an Airbnb, and this is the kind of side hustle that we are going to feature today. So you have all the reasons to stick here so that you get the juice on the meat, or the meat on the bone of this kind of side hustle that is quite famous and is being done by so many people, yet there's still enough market for each and every one of us, as long as you do it the right way, as long as you do it in a way that will entice clients, and as long as you are ready to be on top of the marketing game. So keep it right here and let us learn more that we can today about Airbnb business. So we've all heard about Airbnbs, and I'm sure you know what is an Airbnb. Only that the formal description of what it actually is what may have escaped you. So I'll bring light onto that. Airbnb is an online-based company that was founded by someone called Brian Chesby. Brian Chesby had an idea that he will bring together all homestay owners on an online marketplace so that they find somewhere where they can market their businesses, And this worked so well because the uptake was very positive, and within no time this word had spread globally. This means that people who had homestays or you owned a place where you'd want people to come in as visitors and pay you, people who are coming either as tourists and they'll pay you, they want somewhere to stay, which is not very typical of a hotel, will find somewhere to stay. And this was the idea. So people got interested, and abiding by the regulations that were listed in this online-based company, they registered their businesses under the Airbnb, such that someone coming from Malawi, for example, will be able to identify a homestay that he or she likes, that meets the standard that they are looking for, and then they would actually travel down to Kenya and find somewhere very suitable where they will stay. But then there is a very local way of operating an Airbnb, as much as the name is what goes by for most of these businesses. So the local way of doing it is that you just get a place that suits the description in terms of location and access, a place that is secure, and other things that we are going to mention in the course of this edition, so that you get this place and furnish it up, and then you put it up in online pages and social media pages where you can do very good marketing. And then this place is open for people, either local or foreign tourists who are interested in long-term or short-term stays. And then if they identify your place, they are able to come and stay in for whatever duration they are interested in, and of course they pay in advance. I'm also grateful to my host, who is a friend that is running this kind of a business, so that you are convinced this is not just for who and who. This is like a kind of a side hustle that even you can do it, as long as you are ready to learn and do it right. And as long as you're ready to take the risk, because nothing good comes without a risk. So keep it locked here, 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 keep it locked here. Even my accent is changed, but when you go to Rome, you do what the Romans do. So we'll meet each other in the hustler's base with the right accent, but for today, accept my because some of these people do not want to eat out at the same time they are spending money on your Airbnb. So there are a good group of people, depending on how long they're going to stay. Most people living in an Airbnb would want to cook for themselves, and that is why you need a cooker, you need a microwave so that they can able to warm their food comfortably. You also need a fridge so that in case they have juices and drinks, they can store them there and have them cold. These are things that give your Airbnb a plus, so that anytime someone wants to come in, of course they'll depend on referrals from people who've stayed in your Airbnb, and they'll get good reviews. So stay ahead by having these things on board. Need somewhere that is very accessible, somewhere that is not far off from town, because most of the time people coming in have interest, and some of this interest may be at the CBD of the town that you're running your business. So that is number one factor that you need to look into. Then of course you need to study your market so that you know what is being offered, kind of businesses that are being offered in your niche, so that you know, for example, this kind of location will be good for this kind of business and not this other kind of location. There are also high-end locations that may need a higher capital to run, and there are low-end locations that may not need so much capital in terms of rent. Rent. When you're getting into an Airbnb business, you are renting out space that belongs to someone else. For example, you identify a building that is good enough for you, and then you reach out to the landlord and explain to them so that you know the terms and regulations that are applicable in that area. Because in some areas, for example, where there are gated communities, there may be regulations like they do not entertain parties. So these are some of the things that you need to know before you start accepting visitors into your Airbnb. Another factor that you should consider is the security. That is why you may want to go for a gated community more than any other place, in case that is the kind of target market that you are looking for. Security is an issue in terms of the kind of clientele that you welcome into your Airbnb, and also security for your items, because during off-peak seasons, it means that your house will not be occupied most of the time. And then what happens? You may not have a security person. So you need to be sure that your furniture, of course you're going to furnish the house, you need to be sure that your things are safe even when people are not staying in there. And then in case your visitors are coming from afar, they should be able to access this place without necessarily worrying about their security. You notice that I'm making food today. This is not a cooking station at all. This is not a cooking channel. And Rachel Faraja, if you're watching this, then you know I'm getting a run for your money today. I'm not much of a chef, but I'm just doing this so that we are able to move along together as I do something. I often do not like to shoot editions while I'm just sitting. Usually I'm someone who's, my friends tell me even when you go visiting, Cynthia, can you just behave like a guest? Sit down and wait to be served. In your business, so that if you find the sufuria dirty, you know that you need to find someone to be able to clean up after the guests. If you to come and assess and fetch money at the end of the month, no. Everything you put inside your Airbnb will be in use, and that means that there are challenges. Some of these challenges are that gas may run out. You notice that I'm cooking using gas. So if it runs out in the middle of the night, your client should be able to contact you at any time to let you know that, you know, the gas has run out and we need to cook. So you need to have some numbers on speed dial. The gas guy, a cleaner, so that in case there is need, you can dispatch some of these things as soon as is possible. These are some of the things that will put you on one end of the game, so that you are able to find referrals, especially if some of the clients that you host leave happy. When they leave contented, then they'll use word of mouth to market your business, and that way you'll stay ahead of the game. Then also, when you're choosing your utensils and everything that you're going to stock in your Airbnb, they need to be some things that are looking classy. Don't just go for the basic things that are an eyesore. You know, you can get something beautiful like this plate for the utensils. You can get classy glasses, you know, you stock them there. The kettle ought not to be something very basic, but it has to be something that is easy to use, you know. You do not want to blow down your Airbnb and the whole building for that matter because you stocked something that is very difficult to use. Yeah, so just go for something very easy to use, and then classy does not have to be complicated, you know. Then don't forget very basic things like cutlery. These ones make life easier for everyone, you know. Someone maybe wants to make tea, and you know people are addicted to tea. Then they cannot find the sieve, just in case people are not buying the tea bag, you know. A knife here, some spoons here, some serving spoons, you know, it will go a long way for your business. So how much capital will you need? I know this edition will not be complete if I don't touch on capital. So capital, by now, you must be working this capital in your head, because already you need to find a house that you'll rent. So renting a house means that you're going to talk to the landlord and explain the nature of your business, so that they don't get anxious when they see different people coming in and out every other time, so that they understand that you are hosting, you know, you are hosting people away from their homes. And that means that he'll give you a breakdown on how he wants the rent paid, so that, let's say for example you found a studio like the one we are operating from today. So this one is what we ordinarily call a bed sitter in Kenya. So a bed sitter, depending on where it is located, you'll find a bed sitter going for between 10,000 to 15,000 Kenyan shillings, and that is the general price for a good location. If you go for the very low paying ones, then I doubt you'll be able to find customers, because most of the time you'll find that access to these areas is difficult, and the environment may not be very friendly. So find something that runs between 10 to 15,000 Kenyan shillings on the minimum. And then after discussing with the landlord, of course, you are able to come to an understanding, so that in case you are paying some installment up front, it could be running up to maybe 2 to 3 months, so that you pay the month's rent and then 2 to 3 months on top of. You just cut the tomatoes into the sufuria. I'm not teaching you to cook. I'm just making food so that we eat, and then we can finish up with our discussion. Done. Most of the time, Airbnbs are homestays that target different kind of people. You can find people on holidays who want somewhere to stay, sometimes students, sometimes people attending interviews, or couples on honeymoon. You may have business people, and even trending are women in chamas. If you've been keen, you'll notice that there is a group of women who are doing rounds, and every time they clear a year, they are usually out searching for such places where they can have time to relax and enjoy themselves, And having this in mind will help you know which target clients to market to. Also, this will help you know how you can furnish your premise and how to make it appealing to the kind of target clients that you are looking at. It is wise to note that there are variations in terms of capacity, how many people your Airbnb can host. Some units come as studios, what we commonly refer to as bed sitters in Kenya. Some are single bedrooms and some have double bedrooms. I've even seen homestays where there are several units that can accommodate more than just one family at a time. So when marketing, these are important factors that you need to put out so that people know exactly what they are getting before they come. Invest in curtains that are good looking and good quality. You can invest in shears. You can also invest in high quality beddings. This will all depend on how much you are ready to invest in this business. And this will in turn determine how much you are going to charge per night or per a period of time that is clearly stated. For example, a week or a month, depending on the dynamics that you want to work on for your kind of business. Branded items, the outlook is generally very lush and cozy. This one charges 4,000 shillings per night of stay, exclusive of meals. On a general note, Airbnbs that are found in gated communities and other high-end areas usually charge higher because they have additional features like electric fences for security. Sometimes there are security people on board. And some even go to an extent of having someone on standby, a good chef who can be called upon whenever the visiting family are not interested in cooking for themselves. So if you have these features in your Airbnb, it is important to state them clearly on the marketing platform that you are using. If you are using the social media to market your business, state these things clearly so that someone knows, and make it clear that these extra features will attract a specific amount of charges. A different way of marketing your business in-house is that you can have your items branded. You can have the towels, the bed sheets, and anything else that is deemed right branded so that once the customers come in, they are able to see, you've gone an extra mile to make your business stand out. These are quite subtle methods, but they are usually very effective as far as marketing your business is concerned. Also create interesting spaces. Like in this case, you can see the American flag has been used here effectively to make the space lively. And extra things that you have to put on board are things like storage for water, just in case water runs out. And finally, when your guests leave, you'll realize that it is time to clean up because your space may not be as clean as it was initially. This is just part of the process. You'll need to plan on how to clean your space by either doing it yourself or you'll have to hire someone if you're doing this business as a side hustle.